So now we're going to wind our warp onto our loom. You're going to need some warp separators, which for me is some sturdy brown paper. It needs to be wider than your scarf and a manageable length. You're going to need a pair of scissors because we're going to cut yarn, and you're going to need either a milk jug or a human. So let's do this. So you're going to go to your peg, and you're going to take the loop off your peg all in one piece, and you're going to turn it so that your warp is horizontal. You don't want to let go of it. And you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut this loop. And then you're going to tie it in an overhand knot. Not real tight. So if you're home alone, you can use a milk jug and a carabiner to tension your warp. You're going to take a carabiner and you're going to hook it into your knot. And then you're going to hook it to your milk jug. And this is going to act as some resistance while you're winding on your warp. And it's just going to slide across as you wind on your warp. But luckily, I have a human, and Veronica is going to help me with this. So we're going to take our carabiner off. And Veronica is going to hold the knot for us. So we're going to come back to the loom, and we're going to use this ratchet to wind on our loom. And you're going to want to use your warp paper, your warp separator papers, to keep the warp from layering onto itself, because it's going to get tangled up. You're going to take your rubber bands off, because you don't need those anymore. And you're going to begin to wind on, and Veronica is going to provide some gentle resistance as I wind it on. It comes up over the back beam. So as the warp comes across and comes around, you're going to want to use some paper to separate the layers, and you just insert this as you go along. You're going to continue to wind. Get it straight here. There we go. And just keep going. And you can see how the paper gets in between the layers so your warp doesn't get stuck to itself. And as one piece of paper runs out, you can grab another piece of paper and feed it in to keep them separated. And keep going until your knot reaches the front beam. What I like about the paper is that you can have as many or as few as you like. And they kind of sometimes roll on sideways and squiffy. And if you have more than one piece of paper, you can always make sure that it's covering your whole warp up. Some people use cardboard. Some people use mini blind slats. But I like this because I can reuse them. A little bit more. Almost there. One more, because we're going to have to wind on a little bit more. And we're there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to slay our heddle, which means we're going to move threads from slots to holes. And we're going to do that next.